Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add Gridlex to our project. And in order to do that, we need to go to the Gridlex website, which is gridlex.devlint.fr. And we want to grab this link right here. This links the Gridlex style sheet to our website. So when we load our project, we're loading the Gridlex style sheet along with everything else. And that goes in the head of our document. So it doesn't matter where you put it. I like to keep all my style sheets together, so I'm just going to put it underneath my styles, and I'm going to add a comment, link to Gridlex, so that I know what it is when I look back at it later. Okay, so now I've added Gridlex to my website, so now I can actually start using it. So if you go back to the Gridlex website, this website is actually their documentation, so it tells you how to use Gridlex. Basically, you add a class of grid, and then you define the column width. So you have to wrap a grid around your columns. So, for example, I'm going to go back to my code, and in my About section, I want to center it. So I'm going to say grid-center on the section, and that adds a grid to my section that is centered, and then I can define the column width of this div with everything inside of it. So I want it to have like 3 columns on either side and take up about half the page but be centered. So I'm going to give this div a class of col-6. And it's as simple as that. So now if I were to refresh this website, let's just open it up here, desktop, sites. Okay, so now you can see that all of this is nicely centered. This div is nicely centered. This is another reason why I like to add a border to everything in my CSS when I'm styling. So that way I can see where everything starts and finishes. So what do I mean by that? I can actually see this div that has a col-6 where it starts and finishes. And inside I can see that I have an H2 and a paragraph. So I can just see kind of where everything starts and finishes. And then this is the section here. It just makes grids and styling a whole lot easier while you're working. And then when you're happy with everything, you can take this ugly border off and it goes away. But while you're working, I like to leave it on.